Hello and welcome to this episode of Calin's Awkward Adventures. Today we're going to be tying a woolly bugger. So to start, we're going to get a hook and bead and a vise. Now you don't have to tie this in a bead head version, and you also don't have to use a cone head, but that's what I have, so that's what I'm going to use. So I have that in my vise, so I'm going to grab some wire. I don't have lead-free wire yet, so I am going to get some very soon, hopefully. But for right now, I just have floral wire, fairly similar, acts currently to add slightly more weight and secure the bead. So a couple wraps in there. Then we're gonna trim that, both ends. And I'll just use a pair of forceps to smash down those ends. Just make sure they don't interfere with anything or cut the thread. Press that in there. And then close down that one end. Use these to push that up in that bead. Or to secure it. Okay, then I'll grab some thread. Here I'm using 6/0 uni thread in black. I use a jam knot to secure it. So I'm just going to wrap forward and wrap back on itself, securing my tag end. And I'll trim the excess. Now we are going to wrap up onto the wire to secure it more thoroughly, just to make sure it doesn't slip. That bead will get secured more, but for right now that's okay, even if it is sliding around a little bit. We'll wrap back to the tail, to the bend of our hook. We'll lay down an even thread base. I'm going to go back and do that one more time just to make it nice and even. I'm going to grab some marabou. Here I have some olive marabou. I'm going to cut it because it's a fairly large feather. So measure out my tail length that I want. We'll trim the marabou. And then attach that with the loose wrap. Make sure that it is our desired length and everything. Then we will take further securing wraps. Well, I can always pinch more off if I need to take it off, but we'll secure our tag ends. The marabou can be kind of knotty at times. Throw off some of those that are kind of going everywhere. Well, even if it looks horrible now, it'll get cleaned up. Both tag ends, secure them back, and then trim some of those marabou feathers. Not sure. Okay, secure, make sure it's secure, and we'll cover up those tag ends. It's gonna be kind of a tedious process with all those tag ends. You don't have to worry too much about it. I just like being able to see more what I'm working on as opposed to just a bundle of tag ends and fluff. It's a little cleaner. So a little bit of a tag in there. Clean that one up. Him out of there. Another one. Okay, it's gone. Now we'll wrap back to the tail. Our marabou secure. I think that's a good length of tail. A little bit long maybe, but that's okay. Then I'll grab some crystal flash. Get our ends pretty close to lined up. Doesn't really matter a whole bunch. So we're going to tie that in on one side of our fly. A loose wrap. We'll do some more fold it over to the other side. We'll take our 2 strands over the other side. Okay, and then wrap to make them go straight out. And again, trim that off to be a little bit longer than our tail. Just do that for now. I'll make sure that's secure. And then we are going to, this is not the regular way to tie a woolly bugger. This is the way I like to do it though. So I'm going to tie in a saddle hackle feather in olive. Maybe it's just dark green. Not really sure. It's either olive or dark green. It's just a saddle hackle feather that's tied in. Then I'll grab some wire, some brassy wire. We'll tie that in. Pull it back a little bit to line up with where you tie in. Doesn't matter a whole bunch though, just more secure. Okay, now that we have our saddle hackle and wire tied in, move those out of the way. And I have some olive pearl chenille, medium size. Going to strip a little bit free. Expose the thread in the center. I'm going to tie that in nice and secure. Wrap back to the tail. Make sure everything is secure. Cover any tag-ins you want to cover. And then wrap to the head. Okay. Now we're going to grab the chenille and some hackle pliers. We're going to twist it up. Just makes a more uniform body if you twist it up. Push all our fibers back out of the way. You can see it makes it fairly uniform round shape. We're going to begin wrapping that up the body of our fly, starting at the tail, and we're going to wrap up to the head. Wrapping more if you need to, twisting our chenille up if you want to. The more you go up the head. Okay, once we get to the head of our fly, we're going to tie it off with wraps in front of and behind. And we'll trim the excess. We'll get that out of our hackle pliers. Okay. Now we're going to make sure that is all secure in there. And then we're going to grab our saddle hackle, secure that in our hackle pliers. Make sure it's secure. We're going to begin wrapping it up the body in open spirals. That's a little bit in the way, that's okay. Wrap that up the body of our woolly bugger, stopping at the head. Almost ran out of hackle, that was close. And this is where my woolly bugger becomes unconventional, because generally with some woolly buggers you will tie the hackle in at the head, wrap it back, and then catch it with the wire. However, I like to secure it at the head instead of just relying on the wire. So then we're going to grab our wire and begin counter wrapping it over our hackle, wiggling it back and forth in order to not trap very many fibers. The wire is pretty short, so I'll get my hackle pliers. Once again in open spirals. That again. brushing our fibers back to make sure they don't get caught. Oh, ran out of wire. That's okay. I'll try to wrap this. Just a tiny tag in there. A little short on hackle and a little short on wire. That's okay. We made it. Okay, we'll make sure none of their hackle fibers are trapped. Getting them all fluffed out the way we like them. Okay, make sure all your hackle fibers are free. And we're gonna wrap at the head of our fly to make sure everything's secure and get ready to whip finish. Grab your whip finisher. Give it a couple turn whip finish. Trying not to trap any hackle fibers. I just did. If you do, you can just trim them. Seat the knot. And then trim the excess. Trim your thread. Make sure all the hackle fibers are free. Make sure it flies all how you like it. I'm going to trim this crystal flash back here a little bit just to make it a little cleaner. There we go. Should be good. Make sure it's all nice, pretty. There we go. That is a woolly bugger. If you'd like to buy this fly, you can go to my website at calinscustomtackle.com. Thanks for watching. Click subscribe.